Hello everyone, welcome back to Him Tutorials. As nutrition in animals is going on and we are doing the digestion and absorption as a subtopic, and today the learning objective under this subtopic is we will learn about the Oiseau Figures and then we will learn about the function of the stomach and what is the structure of the stomach. So let's begin with the Oiseau Figures first. As Oiseau Figures is also called as esophagus and it is also called as the food pipe. Let's draw a rough diagram that where is the location of this food pipe in our body. So if I draw a simple, so this is your nasal cavity or nasal chamber, and here are your teeth. This is your upper jaw, there is your tongue, and this is your pharynx, and the one will lead to the, so we had drawn this diagram previous also. So this is your nasal cavity, we know that. This is your buccal cavity and this is your pharynx, and this is the windpipe, and this is the food pipe. Also this food pipe will ends up into a pouch like structure, and this is a J-shaped structure, and this is called as the stomach. So today we are going to learn about the food pipe, this part, that how the food is moving in the food pipe in the esophagus, and about the stomach. So let's begin with the esophagus first. So if we go for the esophagus, then this part, the part which is just on the upper end of the esophagus, if I make a tube like structure over here, so this is a esophagus, we can consider it, and this is the heart. So this is called as the gullet. And this part which is just combining, or you can say the esophagus is ending and the stomach is starting, this part is called as gastro-oesophageal sphincter or cardiac sphincter. So what does this sphincter mean? Sphincter means that it is a such type of pipe which is very tightly bounded, and just if you look the cross section of this esophagus, you will found like this. It has folds in between. It is a pipe but it is having fold in between, and it will not allow the easy passage of the food which is coming from the found. And yesterday we have discussed about that the food which we eat, that is in the form of bolus, and the bolus will then enter into the food pipe which is called as the gullet. So in between this part of the esophagus, there is a special type of mechanism takes place which help in moving the bolus from upward to the downward, that is called as peristalsis, and it is a rhythmic contraction. Rhythmic contraction means that it will move in a particular decided manner, that it is not irregular, it is a regular manner of moving of the or contractions of the you can say the muscles which are present in between, and this rhythmic contraction is given a special name that is called as the peristalsis. And also I want to mention here that the cells which are present in between the esophagus, they have got a special kind of cells this kind of cells, as the, you can say the layer or the wall of the esophagus has this type of cells, and they are called as the goblet cells. And what is the function of goblet cells? Goblet cells will help in releasing mucus. And why these goblet cells are releasing mucus? This mucus is not very thick, but still it is a mucus, and this mucus is helping in lubrication. Lubrication means which will help in easy movement of the bolus of you can say the easy movement of the food from the oesophagus to the stomach. And the main thing which I want to mention here is that the pipe which we are discussing as the esophagus which we are discussing, it is not allowing very easy movement of the food. The movement of the food is with rhythms, as we have discussed earlier. Regular contraction, relaxation of the muscles will go on, and that is called as the peristalsis. And the most important point of the oesophagus or the esophagus or the food pipe is that there is no digestion takes place in the esophagus. What is that? No digestion takes place in the oesophagus. We have discussed that digestion takes place in mouth, as the saliva has called the salivary amylase, which will converting the starch into maltose, but there is no digestion takes place in the esophagus or food pipe. The function of the food pipe is just to connect the mouth and the stomach, is to just make a connection between mouth and the stomach. So there is no digestion in the esophagus. I hope you understand about the esophagus. Now we will switch towards the stomach. So before doing the stomach, we will draw a diagram of stomach first. If we go for the diagram of the stomach, then stomach is something like this. This is the esophagus coming down. It is a big pouch like structure, and it is a J-shaped structure. It is a J-shaped structure, and it is a big pouch like or a sac like structure. Sac means it is empty, somewhat empty from the inside. Now it has four main parts, and they are, this is the part which is slightly upward, projecting upward. This is called as the fundus. Now the part which is near the ending of the esophagus and starting from the of the heart, that is called as cardiac. And I think this part is somewhat near to the heart, so that's why it's called as the cardiac. Now this is the body. Body means that part of the stomach in which the actual digestion will take place, and the last part which is the end of the heart and starting of the small intestine or the duodenum of the small intestine, that is called as pyloric part. And here also there is a presence of one sphincter, that is called as pyloric sphincter. And we had already discussed in esophagus that the point where the esophagus is ending and the stomach is starting, that is also having a sphincter, and that is called as gastro-oesophageal sphincter, or we can say it is the cardiac sphincter. Sphincter word, I again clarify you that sphincter means it is that part which is not allowing anything to go easily, and it will restrict somewhat the movement of the food particles. Okay, if the food is coming from the esophagus, then only it is in controlled manner. If the digested food is going out from the stomach through the pyloric sphincter, that is under also the controlled manner. So this is all about the parts of the stomach. Now let's see that which kind of food we are going to digest in our stomach, and how much time they are going to take. So first, we had already discussed in our first lecture that actually we are going to digest three type of food components. They are the carbohydrates, then second one is proteins, and third one is the fats. So carbohydrates will take up to 1 to 2 hours to digest in the stomach. Proteins are little bit more complex, they will take 2 to 3 hours to digest, and fats are more complex, so they take 4 to 5 hours to digest in the stomach. Again, 4 main parts: cardiac, fundus, body, and pyloric sphincter, and the 3 main components which are actually digested in the digestive system, or you can say the stomach, that is carbohydrate, proteins, and fats. Now we will discuss that what is actually present in the stomach which help in digestion of the food. So the stomach has got the gastric juices, and these gastric juices are: first is HCl, second is mucus, and the third one is digestive enzymes. And these gastric juices are secreted by the gastric glands. If I draw a structure of a gastric gland here, so the inner wall of the stomach, that has got this kind of gastric cells in it, or gastric glands in it, and in these gastric glands there is presence of this type of columnar cells in the inside also and in the outside also, and they are also the goblet cells. We had discussed it earlier also that in case of esophagus there are goblet cells, and here also there are presence of goblet cells. And what is the function of goblet cells? To release mucus. As in case of stomach, this mucus is very thick, not very thick, but it is thicker, more thicker. Why? Because this mucus will make a thick line on the inner wall of the stomach. Why? Because HCl is highly acidic, and it may rupture the wall of the stomach. So to avoid the acidity, or you can say avoid the acid effect of the HCl, the goblet cells are present, and these goblet cells secrete the mucus, and this mucus will line up the inner wall of the stomach to just prevent the stomach from being burning up. So the all the things which are present in the gastric juices, and they are secreted by the goblet, they are secreted by the gastric glands. The first is HCl, second is mucus, and third one is the digestive enzymes. So let's see what are the main functions of the stomach. So the first function of the stomach is to churn the food. Because the walls of the stomach are very strong and they are undergoing many type of contractions, so they will just churn the food. Churn the food means they are just making the food very simple, and they are just breaking the complex molecules of the food into very simple molecules so that they can be absorbed by the body easily. Now second is that the HCl will kill the bacteria. If any kind of bacteria enters along with the food, and if it reaches in the stomach, and if it causes any kind of infection, that is killed by the HCl. And this HCl is also helpful in digesting the complex food, that is carbohydrate, proteins and fats. Now the third is mucus. Mucus is secreting for protecting the inner wall of the stomach from the HCl, because HCl is very acidic in nature, and we know that all the things which are acidic in nature, they are highly inflammable, they can cause damage. So and the last one is the digestive enzyme. So there are number of digestive enzymes which help in easy digestion of the food, and the most important function of the stomach is that it helps in chemical digestion of the food. It helps in chemical digestion of the food. So let's recap again that from the esophagus, the stomach, the esophagus ends and the stomach starts, and the point where the stomach starts, that is called as the cardiac sphincter, and the first part is the cardiac, and then it is the bulgy part of the, which is bulging outside, that is called as the fundus. And I want to add one point here, that any part where you are learning about the fundus, if any organ has such kind of fundus, so fundus is the almost last part of that organ, because if we go through the parts, we will see that pyloric sphincter is the last part. So it is very much away from the fundus. So fundus is something that which is very much away from the last part. So the main part is the body, and this body helps in the digestion of the food actually, and the last part is the pyloric sphincter, and this sphincter is also helpful in movement of the digested food towards the small intestine or towards the duodenum in a controlled manner. Then the type of food which we are actually digesting in our digestive system, that is the carbohydrates, proteins and fats, and different time interval they are going to take to digest in the body. Then there are gastric juices which are secreted by the gastric glands, and they are HCl, mucus and digestive enzymes. What are the functions? The functions of digestive system is to churn the food, and then HCl will kill the bacteria if there is present any bacteria in the food which we are eating, and the mucus is protecting the inner wall of the stomach from the effect of the HCl. And the most important function of the stomach is that it leads to the chemical digestion of the food. So I hope you understood that, and both the objectives are over, that esophagus, that how esophagus and stomach, they are both in a close relationship with each other and helping each other, not helping each other, but just the movement of the food is in a controlled manner, if it is in the esophagus or if it is in the stomach. So keep watching, keep learning up to our next video, because in our next video we will discuss about the small intestine and large intestine. Up to then, thank you so much.